We'll get started. And we'll begin with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, visible in justice.
Thanks. Missoula County acknowledges that this event takes place in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish and Kalispel people. Are there any public announcements?
Hey, Juana, I just want to do one real quick if I can.
Yes, of course.
Just to say I am scruffy and in a t-shirt and on my front porch and not in this room because I'm recovering from knee surgery and no disrespect in any other way. So that's why I am the way I am today. So thanks.
Thank you. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 folks in the audience and sheriff deputy in the corner. Or
great.
Security, sorry, not sheriff deputy, but and Strohmeyer just came in.
Nice.
Here's to recovery, Josh. Okay, our current claims list. Oh, excuse me. Are there any other public comments on items not on the agenda? Current claims list as of July 28th to August 2nd, 2022 in the Commissioner's Office totals $1,459,937.44. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 public hearings today. And we're going to begin with Karen Baldridge with Missoula Rural Fire District annexation.
Karen's not here today. So
okay,
Lisa,
sorry.
I'm the deputy for clerk and recorder.
And Lisa, what's your last name? Sorry.
Frost. Lisa Frost. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so I'll just read what I've got here. We had 5 separate petitions to annex land into the Missoula Rural Fire District. They've been submitted to the clerk and recorder's office. Although they are presented under one agenda item, they are separate and should be considered individually for annexation. Each petition has been signed by the property owners who represent at least 40% of the acreage and 40% of the taxable value of each property to be annexed. All 5 have been approved by the Board of Trustees for the Missoula Rural Fire District, and notice of hearing has been published twice in the Missoulian. The properties to be annexed are as follows. Parcel 1, certificate of survey 4910 in the northwest 1/4 of section 10, township 12 north, range 20 west, located at 6090 Wilderness Trail, Missoula, Montana 59804. Parcel A of certificate of survey 6547 in section 10, township 12 north, range 19 west, located at 2400 Larch Camp Road, Missoula, Montana 59803. Parcel 3A of certificate of survey 4548 in the northwest of the southwest 1/4 of section 10, township 12 north, range 20 west, located at 7800 Alita View, Missoula, Montana 59804. And let's see, parcel 2 of certificate of survey 5717 in section 18, township 12 north, range 17 west, located at 14400 Highway 200 East in Bonner, Montana 59823. And the last one is parcel 1A of certificate of survey 5865 in section 9, township 12 north, range 20 west, located at 5064 Skyway Drive in Missoula, Montana 59804. Each of these petitions are ready for your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience or online who'd like to speak to this? Okay, we don't hear anyone. Do you have any questions?
Nope, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
I would move that we approve the Missoula Rural Fire District petitions for annexation as presented.
Correct, thank you.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, rural special improvement districts, preliminary budget hearing with Andrew Chorney. Hmm. We were talking about it earlier today. Well, maybe. Should we jump down to the Kresge family transfer? We'll do that. Matt Heimel, are you ready? Oh, I didn't even see, gosh. You did not look like you in that mauve, yeah, button down. Okay. Okay, so sorry. Okay, in my defense, when Matt looks down like that, that does not look like Matt. Like, he doesn't.
One, I really wish I was in the room.
Yeah,
Want to
I
see Matt
actually had no idea who that was in the corner.
playing the role of someone else.
I don't know if Larkin's on either. But are you okay to start? Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Maybe Andrew will show up. Okay.
Hey, Violet, can you maybe send a message to Andrew?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Matt Heimel with the County Planning Office, and I'll present two family transfers today. The first is the Kresge family transfer, and I apologize to the claimant if I'm mispronouncing their last name. Just a moment while I bring up the window. There we go. So before I get too far, Commissioners, I would just like us to make sure that the claimants or the representative are either on the call or here in the meeting room. Oh, okay. Hello.
How do we pronounce? Is it Kresge? Kresge. Okay.
Great.
I mispronounced it. Apologies. Okay.
Okay, so this is I'll provide a brief overview of the family transfer application. Claimants are Brad and Darla Kresge, represented by IMEG Corporation. The property for this family transfer is at 7229 One Heart Lane off of Gold Creek Road, northeast of Bonner, which I'll show in a moment. And the proposed recipients are their adult children, Benjamin, Annalise, and Matthew. So the approximately 300-acre property is about 13 road miles northeast of Bonner in the Gold Creek area, and about 2.3 road miles from Gold Creek, from the intersection of Gold Creek Road and Highway 200. Here is a closer aerial image of the property, showing that there is one developed single-family residence in the center of the property with direct access to Gold Creek Road via One Heart Lane. Property is mostly forested with some slopes, which on the north part of the property do have some steeper slopes, but there are no proposed improvements based on the proposed layout. And there are some nearby waterways, but no streams actually on the subject property. Property is described in the 2002 Regional Land Use Guide with an open and resource land use designation. As far as residential density goes, the Regional Land Use Guide recommends a density of 1 dwelling per 40 acres, which this proposal would comply with. So here's an aerial image showing the center of the property. As I said, it's about 300 acres with one single family dwelling with direct access to Gold Creek Road via One Heart Lane. There is a individual well and drain field serving the residents and forest, and the property is predominantly forested with some limited slopes in the north section. So the request is to create 3 new parcels for transfer to immediate family members. And I have those parcels highlighted in blue on this slide. Tract 1 will be about 20.5 acres for Benjamin. Tract 2 is about 20 acres for Annalise. Tract 3 would be 36.5 acres for Matthew. The remaining area would remain in ownership and with the residents of the claimants, and that will be about 223 acres. Tract A is highlighted on the right-hand portion of the area, and that was previously owned by the claimants. However, it has since been deeded to the claimants, to Brad's brother. In the application, there are some letters from the applicant and the intended recipients describing the intent for residential use of the property. In our review, staff looks at rebuttable presumptions and evasion criteria for family transfers. One to note is that the property has a high wildfire hazard risk. So an equivalent subdivision proposal would likely meet significant conditions of approval related to mitigating wildfire hazard risk. However, in staff's review, we did not find a conclusion that there is intent to evade subdivision review, so staff is recommending approval of this request. And with that, I do have the standard family transfer questions for the claimant. If they could please come to the podium and state the name into the record.
Hello, testing, 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 testing.
There you go.
You might have to get a little closer to the mic. Yeah.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Brad Kriske.
Thank you. So I have 5 questions for you. 1, did you buy the property with the intent of dividing it?
No,
Thank you. 2, do you or your transferees intend to transfer the property within the next year?
other than this transfer,
Correct. Yeah.
we're hoping this goes through now. So yes, that would be within the next year.
Okay. 3, have you talked with anyone at the county about going through subdivision review?
No.
4, will the property be developed?
What do you mean developed?
Developments such as houses, roads, any.
Well, eventually we hope that my kids will build houses on them, on those pieces. Yes.
Thanks. And my last question, will the recipients of the property be residing on the property?
Eventually.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions and my presentation, commissioners, and I'm available if there are any other questions.
Thanks. And then Brad or Darla, do you have a representative online with you or just the two of you? Okay, okay. Do you want to tell us a story or plans? Yep.
What kind of story? I mean, we both wrote letters. Is that the kind of thing you want to?
Yeah, to tell us what you're proposing here.
Oh, well, we'd like to split these 3 pieces off so that our kids can have a place to come when they're done with their schools and their careers. And
Maybe
Sorry
could
about
we
that.
mute Josh while the
truck just,
automobiles are going by? Okay, sorry.
I mean, we both worked hard all our lives and bought this and retired over here, and we want to share it with our family. And they've been over here many times and they all love it over here. So, I mean, it is the last best place, and we want them all here and they want to be here. So that's what, we're fortunate enough to have, this large piece of property, and we want to split it off and give some to them.
And I do have a quick question. How does Annalise get to her piece?
How does she get to it?
The access to it.
There's a road, if you see the main road going in and it goes over that dark spot in the middle.
Oh, and it goes up from the south. Okay,
It's on up there.
I follow you. Thanks.
It's just not, it's an old logging road. It's not really.
Oh, I
developed.
think it's the one below, isn't it?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, and so the concerns about fire, what's your approach to wildfire mitigation?
Well, we bought a fire engine.
Okay.
And we go out every spring and we thin the forest, and we just go out further and further every year. And when the kids are able, they come over and help us, and we all work really hard for, a week or so. And we're going to continue to do that. Hey, you've seen that.
So I guess we would tell this to any folks who are proposing to develop throughout Missoula County. One of the most, and you're probably well versed in this already, but the home ignition zone, that first 100 feet or so around wherever your kids' houses will eventually be is such a critical place to make sure that you mitigate the hazards there.
But if you zoom in on the picture, you can see that we've cleared quite a bit of it and thinned and limbed everything up. And
Nope, that looks excellent.
just put in a sprinkler system all around the back of the house to protect it. So
Great.
we're constantly working to mitigate the fire danger, because I know it's a real threat.
Thanks.
Is there a motion?
Yeah,
Bring some motion language up.
I'd be happy to, unless Josh had any questions.
Sure, I'll do this one.
Okay.
I move to approve the request by Brad and Darla Krisky to utilize the family transfer exemption to create and transfer 3 parcels as presented in the exemption application and affidavit.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Have fun.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay.
And you don't have to stay for the whole meeting if you don't want to. You certainly can. Well, we don't discourage folks from our meetings.
Okay. Enjoy. Okay, there's Andrew. We'll go back to item B. Oops, Andrew, you're muted.
Oh, thanks. Apologize for being late. I was called away. There's a little emergency next door. Individual had to be taken away to the hospital. Anyway,
Oh,
that was back home. Everything's fine. So I think what I'd like you to do, I'm a little disheveled. We'd like to open the hearing for the RSID budgets for the coming year. We have a number of budgets that remain unchanged. We have a few that remain that we're going to ask the commission to adjust. Perhaps Violet, if you could bring up that presentation.
You bet, Andrew. 1 second.
And this is the opening of that hearing for those rate increases. Going to the next slide. The county currently has about 35 street lighting districts, 4 water and sewer maintenance districts, 6 parks and common ground area districts that we take care of, and then 11 debt service districts, as we call them, that pay off prior infrastructure improvements, such as a bridge or some improvement that the county put in and the landowners agreed to or wanted a petition for, and we've issued debt thereof for and collect the debt service for. Next slide. 3 districts are proposed to be increased, and 1 is actually a new district, new RSID, something we've done for the first time up at 29th and North Avenue. They asked for some paving to be done. The paving came in around $34,500, I believe. They asked for a 10-year loan on that. Went up for security, and we're secured a 4.25% loan. Each of the homeowners there's equally splitting that assessment over a 10-year period. I believe it's around $325. There aren't any other rural special improvement districts that will increase in 2023. Many of you might have gotten, well, everybody who's in an RSID must have gotten a notice. I got mine for Lola Water and Sewer, which there's no increase, but we're required by law to send out the RSID notification of this hearing, no matter if there is an increase or not an increase. And we're only asking for increases to 1 in Canyon View Park and 1 in Elmar Park. More information is online at missoulacounty.us for any one of these individual ones. And the assessment may get a little bit smaller. This is what we estimate it to be, but it may be smaller if some of the property is divided or sold off, and thereby lowering your split of the share. Next slide, please. So for Canyon View Park, we're asking for an approximate 10.75% annual increase per property out there. There's about 93 parcels that will share in that. It's based on taxable value, so it may be a little bit different than the 1075. More, some will pay more, some will pay less. It covers about $1,000 overall for the district, so it's not a big increase. Next slide. Elmore Park budget, we're asking for an 8.4 annual increase. It'll bring the annual increase from 123.10 to 131.58. It's based on equal split. The annual increase to the district is about $2,000. We've got some pretty substantial increases in lighting, water, and ground maintenance, and this will allow us to go ahead and balance that budget and provide a little bit for a rainy day fund, because they do have some problems with some piping and pump issues out there. Next slide. And then this is the new one, 29th and North. The homeowners came together, asked the county to go ahead and pave this piece of property for them, this piece of road. Public Works went and did the road for them, and they got a great price on it. We went ahead and levied $34,950 over 10 years, 4.25%. Each homeowner pays about $322 a year on that. Next slide. So are any questions or comments on the ones that I've talked about?
Yeah.
Hello, Cameron Wilson. I live on 306 Robinson. What was the last piece you just said about the homeowners came together to pave this piece? What exactly are we talking about there? The last proposed pavement?
Yeah, on 29th and North. Yeah, my
29th
understanding
and
is
North.
that the homeowners came back to the commission and asked for this to be done and worked with Public Works to get it done.
I apologize. That's not of my concern. I step back from the microphone. I thought we were on to the next topic of the Canyon View Park. I'm sorry that went over that.
Okay.
Yep, that was me. I apologize. Please continue. That the last
Okay.
part caught me off guard.
Let's go back to the questions section there. Are there any questions from the commissioners on that, or anybody in the public?
Yeah, the Canyon View.
Do you want to come up? Yeah.
Bob Brunson, 711 Speedway. I'm speaking in behalf of the Canyon View Park. And to be honest with you, we have not been getting our bang for the buck for the amount of taxes we're paying. We were lied to by Bud Heddich and Mike Barton about this whole deal. When that park became an issue, there was the county at that time owned a piece of property on the 200 block of Montana Street. We asked that the county make that into a tot lot, because the Canyon View Park, the grade school, and the Lions Club Park are all within 3 blocks on the same road, on Robinson Road, together. We wanted that other thing. And so Mike Barton and Bud Heddich said, well, you'll have to carry a petition to get enough people to put this all 3 parks into one hopper. And so we carried the petition. They lied to us that said we did not have enough signatures. My wife and I proved that they were wrong. In the meantime, they had already sold that piece of property down there on 200 block of Montana. So during that time, we had our own committee to run that park. which my wife was the secretary treasurer. She was given the tax money in our account. She wrote the checks for the park to the mowing, any of the improvements and whatnot. We could make our improvements on our own. We did not have to beg, borrow, or whatever you want to call kissy up to the county to get anything done, which we can hardly get anything done anymore. Before, if we had a problem, we went and addressed it and solved it. So now you're asking for more money to do less articles. I think that this proposal is totally wrongdoing on the county's part. I think you better make do with what you've got and start living within your budget instead of tax. Now you heard my story. You guys all know I've talked with you before.
Thanks,
And,
Bob.
you know how I feel about what the government is doing. I've had my say. Do the right thing if it's possible within your realm. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Sorry, Andrew, did you want to go back to Canyon View or that's?
Yeah, it's, right now, we've been running about $1,000 between 1,600 and 1,040 for electrical for last few years. Budgeted 1,500, ground mount maintenance, been budgeting around 2,900. It's come in.
Hold on, Bob. Let Andrew finish. Keep going, Andrew.
It's come in as high as 32, sometimes at 29, sometimes at 25. Right now, there's a negative $136 balance in the account. We have a $4,000 revenue budget that we collect from them. We're asking for a $1,000 increase.
Okay, Bob.
One other thing I'd like to say, before the county, in their instant wisdom, took over the park from my wife for her writing checks, I personally blew out the park's water system every year. And I drained the system. I did everything at no cost to the county or the taxpayers. But now you guys had to jump right in, take over that, want to spend more tax dollars money, and you have not given us a bang for our buck. So I oppose wholeheartedly on your increase. Live within your budget. Do the right thing. Try it. You might enjoy doing the right thing for a change.
Right now, there's a $136 negative balance in that account. I see that expanding over the next few years if we continue. So it's I'd still recommend the $1,000 increase.
And just for clarification, we're opening the public hearing today. We're not taking action on this, correct?
That's exactly right.
And when, 2 weeks?
I think
August 25th.
25th, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, come on up.
Juan, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
We're talking about maintenance on a park. That's correct?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it would be good to have Juniper or someone from her or Jackson come and talk about the maintenance that's currently being done and what other options are.
Is Amanda on the line? Amanda, have you talked to Juniper about that at all?
Hi, Andrew. I am here. Juniper and I have had several discussions related to the park. Unfortunately, the costs for maintaining have increased. The last time the rates were increased for this RSID was in 2013. So that's over a decade ago. Just trying to keep up with the basic costs has become more and more challenging. Last year, tree that was damaged was removed from the park and expended, I think, almost $1,100 trying to get that tree out and removed safely. And that really hit the available balance for any emergencies like that. So, and be able to just continue the services that are being provided, which having spoken with Juniper, I know she would certainly like to expand them, but that would probably take an even bigger increase to be able to do that. So we are
This
trying
isn't
to maintain service with this.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is just maintaining service. And we're doing this work and hiring contractors. There aren't volunteers out there like there once were. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Hold on, Bob.
I live next to the, is it okay if I speak?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if Andrew, did you have anything else to add?
No, that is correct.
Okay.
I did like the comment that maybe we have someone come out and look at what needs to happen, since I've lived, I have the longest fence line of the park. My house borders the entire park. In the past year, the sprinklers have been faulty. The grass is dead. I've been there for 4 years. I've never seen the park look this poor. And I don't know if that would be maybe someone, I heard at one point you were talking about that there needs to be some money because those systems are maybe not upgraded. Maybe it could be simply some of the nozzles be please, but before we go down that road, maybe we could have someone come out and actually look at what's going on. Why is the grass all dead? I understand that tree. I know the tree you're talking about was a big expense, but other than just saying this will be $1,000, we don't want to pay any more money if it's going to continue the way it's been continuing for the past year. So maybe we can have someone come out and say, look, your money's going to go towards making the park green again. It was always green, beautiful park. Right now, it's not looking that way. And if you're saying that's because you guys don't have the funds, well, I mean, I see the lawn mowing guys come once a week. They're great. I think it's mainly the sprinklers, and it certainly is not a matter of love for the park, as you've said. But before we just jump into $1,000, maybe we get an idea of why the park is not looking the way it has in the past first.
Thank you. And help me with your name again. Sorry.
Cameron Wilson, 306 Robinson.
Thank you.
Yeah, we could certainly have someone from our Parks Department give you a call and either meet you out there or have a conversation about it.
It's a beautiful park and we love it a bunch, but I've never seen in my 4 years, I've not lived in the neighborhood as long as these guys have, but in the past year, it is a shadow of what it was even last summer. So I don't know the ways to go about that, but before just saying $1,000 will fix it, I'd be interested more to say what's going on there, whether it's irrigation or proper maintenance or.
We'll ask someone to give you a call.
Those
That makes
are
a good
worthwhile
deal.
questions for sure.
Appreciate it.
Say that again, Josh.
I just said those are worthwhile questions for sure.
Great. Okay, hearing is open.
Well, and then have a couple more slides on.
Sorry,
Second,
Violet,
Andrew.
Yeah, go ahead. and go to
changing
the next.
monitors.
I want to talk about the Fairgrounds Special District one and the next one. This was established in 2018 by the VCC in Midtown. It's
Hey,
helped.
Bob, hold on, Andrew. Bob,
I'm
if
sorry.
you want to just go into the foyer there, then. Or Jenny, okay, there you go.
I'm sorry, I should be there.
Sorry, okay, no, go ahead.
Yeah, this was established by all in 2018, and its boundaries of the Fairgrounds property in Midtown. It's really added to the heritage and while maintaining looking to the future while maintaining the agricultural heritage. Phase 1 of the renovation is complete, and we've more than started. We're halfway done with the Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center, which is going to be a fantastic addition. Next slide, please. The renovation cost for the pros assessment for phase one is $844,272, approximately what it was last year. For Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center, $817,712. It's a little more than last year. I think it's about 3/4 more than last year. Now we have full years of debt service. Both of the assessments pay for the debt service for the construction bonds that we have issued already for the Fairgrounds Phase 1, but the other ones I will be issuing for the Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center. I've been conservative with the debt service number using a higher interest rate because we don't know what the future will hold, but I think that's a conservative debt service number for the hearing purposes. Next slide. And these are some websites where you can get some more information on what's going on with the Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center and how you can join to help the Healthy Acres Foundation help grow the what's going on out there. Fairgrounds website, of course, and I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy the fairgrounds from the 10th to the 14th this month. So that I'm done. And I'd ask that you continue the hearing until August 25th.
Any comments on Fairgrounds District? Okay. Seeley Lake?
It was formed in '74 for collection and disposal of refuge. 2011, there were changes to Montana law, and Public Works took it over, and it was overseen by the BCC, of course. Closely follows the district boundaries of school district number 34. We do accept out of district refuse based on types of material, of course. And it's located at 1708 Woodward. Republic hauls the trash to Missoula Forest. Next slide. We're not proposing any kind of a fee increase for the current year. Proposed fees will remain at $180 per year. Out of district fees will remain at $4 per 32-gallon bag or $18 per cubic yard. Fee for debris, appliances, construction, furniture, and tires will all remain the same. So,
Any comments about Seeley Lake Refuse District? Also open until the 25th?
right. Go to the next slide, please, Violet. And I'd ask to continue to 25th at 2 p.m. It's going to be a hybrid meeting. Courthouse Annex, Sophie Moyes room. And the agenda's online. Everything will be available on 19th. So
Thank you, Andrew.
You bet.
Okay. McGoldrick.
Okay, Matt Heimel again with the planning office. Just a moment while I pull up a PowerPoint for this family transfer. Okay, so this is a public hearing for a family transfer and aggregation request. The claimant is Kathleen McGoldrick, represented by Montana Northwest Company. The property is at 10870 Sleeman Creek Road, west of Lolo. And the proposed recipient for this family transfer tract is the claimant's adult daughter, Kimberly Ann McGoldrick. So the subject property is about 41.45 acres. It is addressed as 10870 Sleeman Creek Road. It's about 2.8 road miles west of Lolo, or 1.2 road miles north of the intersection of Sleeman Creek Road and Highway 12. And Sleeman Creek does run adjacent to the west boundary of the property. Here's a closer aerial image showing the full subject property. And here's an image showing just some topographical detail for the subject properties. You can see the western portion of the home site is relatively level near Sleeman Creek and Sleeman Creek Road. And then there are steep slopes through most of the eastern portion of the property. The property is zoned and it is described in the Lolo Regional Plan. So the zoning district is a citizen-initiated zoning district number 44, and it is within Region 1 of that district. And what that means for, in the context of this review, is that the minimum lot size is 10 acres. The both proposed tracts, or the new proposed tracts and the remaining tract, I should say, will both be just over 20 acres. So the proposal is compliant with the zoning. The property, as I said, described in the Lolo Regional Plan, has two land use designations. The first, where there is existing development and where development would be proposed, is described as rural residential. And that land use designation recommends a residential density of 1 dwelling unit per 10 acres. This proposal will exceed that recommended density, but it is still zoning compliant, and it does also comply with goals in the Lolo Regional Plan, which are to designate property development away from steep slopes and resource areas, which the eastern majority of the property does correspond with the open resource land use designation with a recommended density of 1 dwelling unit per 40 acres, and there are no improvements proposed for the eastern portion. So here's a aerial image showing the developed portion of the property. This is the western area that has an existing house. So there's an existing single-family dwelling with access to Sleeman Creek Road with an individual well and drain field and septic system. As I said, there are some steep slopes on the eastern majority of the property, and Sleeman Creek is mapped as running to the west. However, I'm not exactly sure as to the accuracy of that line as shown on the map, but it is on the western boundary.
Because it goes right through the house to the north.
Right. So, however, it is noteworthy that the creek, as mapped, would cross the road and be west of the southern portion of the property where there is the new parcel and home site proposed. Here's a schematic layout from the application. And here is an image of a line that has not been formally expunged from the survey record. So to meet the family transfer recording requirements, the application also does include aggregation of this line. So that is why this exemption affidavit has two requests, one the application and then a family transfer. And here's an image showing the proposed conditions. So the tract will be divided into two equal portions, about 20.725 acres each. And the south portion would be transferred to the claimant's adult daughter, Kimberly Ann McGoldrick. The application describes that both tracts are for residential use by the claimant and the recipient. And in staff's review, we found that there does not appear to be intent to evade subdivision review. So we're recommending approval of both requests. And with that, I have some questions for the claimant.
Hello,
Hello.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Kathleen McGoldrick.
Thank you. I have 5 questions for you. One, did you buy the property with the intent of dividing it?
No, we did not.
2, do you or your transferee intend to transfer the property within the next year?
No,
Okay, 3, have you talked with anyone at the county about going through subdivision review?
no, I reached out to the land surveyor and asked them about how to create a parcel of land for my daughter.
Okay, thank you. 4, will the property be developed?
Yes, eventually.
And my last question, will the recipient of the property be residing on the property?
Yes, as soon as we could build a dwelling for her.
Thank you. Commissioners, that concludes my questions and my presentation, and I can take any questions as well.
Thank you. Well, Kathleen, or do you have anyone from Northwest here with you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add to Matt's presentation?
No, other than, I think, I mean, Matt did a professional presentation. I noticed that you said it goes right through our neighbor's property. The lines are very funny, the way that they've divided it on that road. And it's very angular, and most of the acreage is up a mountain. So obviously that would not be the case. It's
west of the road and it won't impact Kimberly's future. Okay.
indeed.
Do you have any questions? Or Josh, do you have anything to ask Kathleen?
I'm good. This seems pretty clean.
Would any of you like to make a motion?
Yes. All right. I guess we could go ahead and take these as a group here. I move to approve the request by Kathleen McGoldrick to utilize the aggregation exemption as presented in the subdivision exemption affidavit. Should I do them both? Or you want to?
I think we have to, don't we have to do one completely in order to make the second one happen?
It's your call.
That would be cleanest to have one.
Okay, we'll do the first one completely.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll second the first motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I move to approve the request by Kathleen McGoldrick to utilize the family transfer exemption to create and transfer one parcel as presented in the subdivision exemption affidavit.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I don't know how often you're thanked for your service, but thank you.
well, thank
Thank you.
you.
Rarely, but thank you.
Okay, Jenny Dixon.
Okay, thank you very much for allowing me to give you this presentation for the Clearwater Junction subdivision phasing plan extension request today. I think we're on the 7th hearing today. That's pretty impressive. For the record, my name is Jenny Dixon with Community and Planning Services. I just have a few slides here today for a request to, as the title said, extend the phasing plan dates of approval for final submittal. And this slide is showing you the general location of this subdivision that was approved in 2007 called Clearwater Junction. It's an 8-lot subdivision just east of the Highway 83, Highway 200 junction. The current deadline that has actually passed for the phasing plan. All 3 phases were to be filed or submitted for filing July 11, 2022. The new proposed deadline is July 11, 2025. The intent of this is not to show you really detail other than the phases are staying the same. Everything's staying the same, except that the dates are changing. You'll see a note down there at the bottom of the slide that says, if this extension request is approved, it is possible, according to our subdivision regulations, that one more extension request could be requested and possibly approved by the commission up to 2028. And that comes from a section in our subregs that states if a subdivision was approved prior to 2017, I believe, they have 12 years to file, to get to do a final filing of all phases. And that was adopted in 2016. So we count the 12 years from the date of adoption, which would be 2028. But that doesn't affect this request right now. I'm just letting you know that if you approve this extension request, you might see another one. This is a table to just give you some idea of the extension requests that have been requested and granted for this subdivision. As I said, it was initially approved in 2007. It was not phased at that time. The applicant then requested several extensions to the unphased version of the subdivision, and then in 2010 asked for a phasing plan with 3 phases, 2011, 2013, 2016, and then on up to our current request with all phases proposed to be filed by July 11, 2025. I would note that in 2008, the extension request was to allow additional time for DEQ review. And then when that was granted in 2009, the applicant requested additional time to comply with conditions of approval. And then in 2010 and all subsequent extension requests, the reason given was the economic climate after the 2008 Great Recession. Each extension request since then has been accompanied by a statement that says it is anticipated that economic conditions will improve in the near future and thus allow the developer to meet the filing deadlines as proposed. And I bring that up as it is somewhat relevant to the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7 criteria that you would want to consider in this extension request. And this is a lot of words on a slide, but I wanted you to see what the staff's conclusions were relative to those 7 criteria for this extension request. The first one, will the extension request comply with current regulations? And there are no proposed changes that would bring it out of compliance with applicable regulations. But it is not clear in letter B that the applicant intends to meet this new final plat submittal deadline based on past history. However, the subregs do give you the authority to approve an extension request if you feel that these criteria are met. The letter D is the new phasing plan functional. And I bring this to your attention because as proposed, and I'm going to show you a detail of the phasing plan in a minute, the phasing plan does not contain fully functional systems of access or other infrastructure without reliance on a future phase. And so staff has recommended condition to revise a note that was placed on the phasing plan to ensure compliance with a condition that was adopted in 2007. Which required emergency turnarounds prior to final plat approval rather than at a later stage building permit. And let me just actually jump ahead to the next slide to show, and then we can go back to the other criteria if you'd like. So this is, again, same phasing plan as you've seen in past years, with the exception, obviously, of the new date, July 11, 2025. And then a note has, at my request, I asked the applicant to clarify how they intend to meet that criterion of the function, is each phase functional, stands alone by itself. And condition number 1 of the subdivision in 2007 required emergency vehicle turnarounds with each phase, with phase 1 and 2 that would on that frontage road that you, let's see. So with phase one, you need, when it's filed, there needs to be a turnaround either within phase one or outside of phase one, but serving phase one frontage road. Same with phase two. And then when phase three comes along, those turnarounds can be removed and replaced with a frontage road that then connects so that there are these 2 points of ingress and egress onto Highway 200. The note that the applicant placed on their proposed phasing plan is that they would place those turnarounds prior to issuance of a building permit, which does not comply with the verbiage of the approved subdivision condition number 1. So our recommendation ultimately is approval of this requested extension request of the phasing plan to 2025 with a condition, as you'll see here, a condition of approval to change that note on the plat to have those turnarounds placed prior to final plat approval and not building permit approval. So this is your recommended motion with a recommended condition to meet that functionality criterion. I'm just going to jump back real quick in case you have any other questions about the criteria, none of which significantly are out of compliance with the current or then existing subdivision regulations. It's merely a pattern of extension requests, which until recently was not capped, and now we have a cap to 2028. So that is, recognizing there is a point at which there can be no more extension requests. Staff is recommending conditional approval of this.
Okay, so the 2028 is it. So not in 2027, there can't be a request for another 12 years or?
No.
Okay, so 2028
Is it?
Okay. And these are all residential lots or are they commercial lots as well?
Well, so the property is unzoned and
Right. Okay.
so uses will be dictated by, what kind of approach permit can they get or what kind of sanitation approval can they get. The covenants do require that, let me see if I can find it. They have a reference to permitted uses on those lots of essentially a general commercial nature. So that's what could be permitted here.
And what had DEQ asked back in 2000?
That was just the sanitation and subdivision review. I mean, that was just the standard DEQ
Standard,
review
okay,
that
okay.
they were waiting to get that caused the first extension
Delay,
request.
got it. Okay.
And we have been working with Eli and Associates Mariah Hale on this request. I don't see.
Oh, I saw Eli on earlier, but
she,
um,
I'm assuming there was somebody from Eli who would want to speak.
oh, there they are.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
And I'm done with my presentation, unless you have questions.
Okay. And I don't know who's all from Eli. We can see 1.5 of you.
Oh, sorry. Can you see me?
Yes.
I'm Joshua. This is Mariah. She likes to hide in the corner.
Okay.
Mariah, do you want to do any kind of a screen share presentation? Would you like me to stop sharing or would you like me to just leave this slide up?
I did not have.
We don't have anything further to share. We gave our client the number to call in if he wanted to advocate for his project, but we're unsure if John Richards is on the line.
Hello, I am on the line. Hello,
John, yeah, go ahead.
can everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just met with Tim Worley earlier this spring, and he suggested that we extend it. Some of the conditions of approval are kind of, let me say, far out for a totally rural area. One of them being the 6-foot concrete sidewalk, 1,500 feet long. And so I wanted to go back and address those conditions of approval with caps, and then we'll come back to the commissioners in the future.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, I think that ship has probably sailed. I'd like to hear from staff on that, but we're just talking about the phasing here, not revisiting any conditions of approval from when this was approved originally. I would love to hear though from Jenny Dixon if I am in error.
No,
Um,
Dave, this is John. You are correct. All we're doing right now is requesting an extension.
Hey, hey,
Anything else will come back before the commissioners at a future date.
hey, Juan,
Josh, yeah, go ahead.
is John Hart in the room with you guys today?
He is, and Tim Worley's on the phone as well, or
Great.
online as
I'm sure John can help me or correct me on this. I remember something about not being allowed to condition extensions on subdivisions that had been approved before a certain date. Does that ring a bell, John? Or am I totally off base here?
I
No,
don't
you're
remember.
you're on base, Commissioner Slotnick, and the magic date is, I believe it's April of 2017.
So
a
this
subdivision was approved prior to that, like this one in 2007, has to stand on its own.
So we can't, if that's right, John, and thank you, we can't condition this as Jenny would recommend. Is that correct?
Is that true?
I think we can condition it because it's consistent with the conditions of approval that are already in place.
Okay.
Is that how you characterize it, Jenny?
Yes, we requested the applicant to revise the note on that phasing plan, and we did not get that. And we wanted to keep it moving and brought it to you with this condition to reflect already existing approval.
And Marias or Joshua, do you have anything to add?
No, because we were acting on behalf of our client who was on the phone.
Okay. Dave.
Yeah, John Richard, since you're here with us, thanks for joining us. I guess my question for you, and this is Dave Strohmeyer, what makes you think these things are going to sell? We're experiencing a red hot real estate market and have been for quite a while. Has something particular been holding up these lots from attracting buyers? I'm just wondering, we extended yet again and it's getting out there a ways. Earlier extensions seem to be predicated on trying to recover from the 2008 recession, and we're 12 years past that at this point and experiencing the hottest real estate market this area has seen in a long time. So I'd just like to hear your thoughts.
I agree with you, Dave, but the issue has been the affordability. I have been in contact with the Human Resource Council about maybe trying to do something for affordable housing in the area. And those discussions, I had them many years ago with them, and then the recession hit, and it's only been over for a couple of years now. So the whole reason I bought the land there at Clearwater Junction, both the ranch and this piece, was to try to build it affordable for working people. And with what's happened on the Clearwater Meadows, that's no working person that works in the service industry is going to be able to afford that. And so that's why my discussion was with the Human Resource Council, to see if there is something that we might be able to provide some affordable housing. And yes, it's not downtown Seeley Lake, but I don't know that there's any property in Seeley Lake that's deemed affordable. So anyway, that was the reason for the extension. I'd like to pursue that. And it's really part of the economic picture, but economic market, the market has changed, but the need for affordability and affordable housing is exponentially increased.
Thank you.
I don't have any further.
Just have one
Oh,
other
yeah,
thing.
sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Thank you. For Mr. Richards, I'm very sympathetic to wanting to build affordable housing, and the longer you wait, the less affordable they will be. Our market here seems to be only going in one direction. So I would encourage you to do this sooner than later.
And that was my discussion with Tim Worley earlier. Just needed more time, and so that may want to come back with some other amendments or something. We'll address that in front of the commissioners at a future date.
Okay, but right now it's what's before us is
Yep.
another 7 years and then that's it. So we have to get this done or,
Let's see,
Or they have-
2028, 6 years.
okay, sorry, 6 years.
Mhm.
Great,
I'm happy to make a motion.
go ahead.
Or do you want to take public comment?
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Is
sorry
there
about
any further public comment on this? Come on up. Sorry, thank you.
Jean Belongini, I think the idea is great. He made one comment that I think everybody needs a little background on, which is the 6-foot sidewalk. And the reason that came in was because back sometime in the last 20 years, whenever I've been working on trails, a lot of the sidewalks coming into the subdivisions, small subdivisions, big subdivisions, whatever, were not large and wide enough for a mother to walk down the street with her child next to her, namely 2 to 3 feet at the most. And so through many discussions over meetings on trails and sidewalks on the county and the city level in the last 35 years, we came up with 10 feet for business areas that would be used by lots of people. So you could have at least 2 wheelchairs or persons with dogs or kids or whatever passing, and a minimum of 6 feet for residential areas for major sidewalks. And that's the background on it. It has nothing to do with, oh, it's a safety issue finally. It's, if you go to Lolo, we have a subdivision with a 2-foot wide sidewalk that you can't hardly walk down on with a stroller. So it's those kinds of things that came in. And that's my only comment, that little background on the sidewalk issue.
Thank you, Jean.
Okay.
Jenny, sorry.
That's okay. And thank you, Jean. Your contributions over the years have been very helpful, and I appreciate that clarification. And, you know, if the expectation is to come in later to revise conditions of approval, I can't envision, of course, it's up to the commissioners, but staff would not likely support a revision to the condition number 1 about a 6-foot wide sidewalk on one side of a frontage road along a highway where commercial uses are going to be allowed. But that is not the request today. And if the applicant needs more time to think about the conditions of approval, that's what they're asking for, I think.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any further public comment? Okay, Josh or Dave, do you?
I'm good.
Go ahead. Violet's checking online.
I don't see anybody. If you would like to comment, you can unmute and let us know.
Don't see any.
I think that's Susan.
Josh, do you want the honors or shall I?
I'll gladly do it. Thanks. I'd recommend that the phasing plan amendment for Clearwater Junction subdivision be approved subject to the recommended condition of approval, establishing a new final plat submittal deadline of July 11th, 2025 for all phases.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And
Good luck, John, selling those.
just for the record, I would just like to read the recommended condition. So that recommended condition that this approval is subject to is the note on the phasing plan shall be revised to state plans for an installation of emergency vehicle turnarounds for the interior frontage road shall be reviewed and approved by County Public Works prior to phase 1 and phase 2 final plat approval in accordance with subdivision condition number 1. And I thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Dave Larkin, building codes update.
Are you ready for some really exciting information?
We're on the edge of our seats.
Okay, great. The building division needs to request that you adopt the new building codes for 2021. The state of Montana adopted the codes on June 10th, and we have 90 days to accept those codes. And it's really largely a ceremonial duty that I'm performing today. So there you have it.
You have no stripes or ribbons or anything.
You know, I really don't. I'm sorry. It's as dry as toast.
Any discussion on this or public comment on these? How did outreach go?
Everything's working. It's slowly working its way through. Yeah, we're getting the message out there.
Okay.
Yeah. We are going to be doing a permit fair, or some sort of a fair this September or October. That's going to be the real outreach.
I like how you put it in terms of it's working its way through, because a rancid corn dog can work its way through your digestive system too. So, not that I would be thinking about that at the fair or anything. But,
you're just digging your hole deeper, man.
Okay, I would move that we approve the resolution to adopt 2021 codes per ARM 24.301.3011.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Go to the fair.
Thanks, everybody.